Marvel Studios kicked off one of the biggest gambles in Hollywood and in Marvel's history with Iron Man 1. And we've heard plenty of tales in regards to that film's shaky development and even the process right as they started shooting. Now one of the stars of the film, Jeff Bridges, talks about how Marvel Studios drove him completely insane with the changes that they made. This isn't going to be the first time that Jeff Bridges has called out Marvel Studios or talked about their crazy approach to making films. And of course, he was right there on the ground floor with Iron Man 1. And recently speaking with Vanity Fair, he reflected a little on playing Obadiah Stane and what exactly they were doing with the character, the script he got, and how everything changed on the first day of shooting. And he says that he felt very lucky that he got to be in this film on the ground floor, that he got to be there with Jon Favreau, with Robert Downey Jr., and see what was going on. And he talks about how they spent a couple of weeks leading up to the first day of shooting, rehearsing everything, going over the script, rehashing every element, putting rewrites in there that felt more natural, talking about the original script and changing a few elements here or there to make sure that the film is a little bit more simplistic and a little bit more approachable. And then he says they show up to work on the first day and they told him, don't worry about the script. They threw out the script and they just approached it with a loose sort of idea of what they're going to do. And he said that there was a lot of improv. There was a lot of times where they were unsure where they were going to be going. And he says that this drove him absolutely insane because he had to adjust his brain for what was happening. You're making a close to $200 million film that's being backed by what is a indie studio. That's what Marvel Studios was before they were bought by Disney. And he was concerned with the end result. He was concerned with what they were going to be doing, that they could be burning through money, and that this could be a complete tragedy. But he saw that everybody was putting their best foot forward and that this was working in the moment. So he fell in line and he continued to do what was asked of him, which was improv here or there, use this loosely, ad-lib moments you think your character would say something different, and will approach this in a more organic way. And in that way, the end result was Iron Man 1, which to many people is still one of their favorite MCU films, and it really shows that Marvel Studios back in that day was really fighting an uphill battle and literally just working with scraps. And it's reflective in all of Phase 1. You know, it was unsure, but they got it off the ground. And continuously we hear stories like this where it's like, oh, one thing after another, we always end up tossing out elements of the script and just kind of seeing what happens, and it worked out. So it was a different time back then.